Coming up on Gameball College Kickoff, Mike and I, we break down the Week 1 matchups, who won, who lost, and why. Going to go over some coaches who are on the hot seat. I can think of a couple of guys in the SEC. And as always, our fearless foursome 4 picks for Week 2. All coming up next, Gameball College Kickoff.
What's happening,
everyone?
Welcome to Gameball College Kickoff, where the football season never ends. Your boy, Mike Riley.
And I'm Luke Hartnett. Together we're holding it down for Marcus Jovel Jenkins, Jovel Entertainment.
Let's get it. What a Week 1. It was exciting matchups and all that. So what was your favorite matchup to watch?
I'm going to call an audible right here. I'm going to say Kansas and Kansas State both starting 1-0. I was really fascinated. You and me were able to listen to a good chunk of the KU game on our way up to Peru, Nebraska. Shout out Peru State for having us. We was able to watch a good chunk of the K-State game on the way back there. And I tell you what, Coach Kleiman, Coach Miles, I like what they got going on there. So combination of the Sunflower State schools going to combine 2-0. Let's see more of it.
Let's get it. All right, first segment, scores and recaps of the 4 games we picked. Ole Miss 10, Memphis 15, South Carolina 20, North Carolina 24, Virginia 30, Pittsburgh 14, Oregon 21, Auburn 27. We're going to talk about South Carolina, North Carolina. Break it down.
North Carolina, they were behind for pretty much the duration of the game. They got the lead, by midway through the fourth quarter. They were down 20-9. So Mac Brown, 5 years out of the game, second time around at North Carolina, as won the 2005 championship at Texas and that iconic Rose Bowl over Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Pete Carroll, and USC. Looks like the 68 years old. He still got it though. He had the kids playing hard during the game, and he was breaking it down in the locker room afterwards. Great video.
It was, and I didn't think North Carolina had a chance, but they proved me wrong. And the way that they played until the end, it just kind of shows you that Mac Brown hasn't lost a beat since being out of the game. And when he came back to North Carolina now, you can see a new direction going with this football program and all that. Defense balled out. Offense struggled the first part of the game, the first 3 quarters and a half. Then they start coming alive last parts of the game. And what happened to South Carolina?
The second half, they quit winning first down. They kept on getting the 3rd and long. They weren't able to really milk the clock, and when they had opportunity to wear out the UNC defense, they just weren't able to.
I agree. It's just they had their chances, and they was marching down the field. They could have scored and won the game twice with about 3 or 2 minutes left and 2 costly interceptions that lost them the game. And next game we're going to talk about is Oregon and Auburn. Break it down.
This was a devastating loss for Oregon in the Pac-12 for that matter. Because even with the win, I don't fancy Auburn a legit college football playoff contender. I mean, they're in that SEC, they're in that SEC West. Texas A&M in that West Division looked good. Alabama speaks for itself. LSU looked as good as advertised. So Auburn's going to have the work cut out for them. Great that they won the game. So they still got that inside track, for lack of a better term. But Oregon, they giving up a last second touchdown with 9 seconds to go in the game. Just an incredible call by Auburn. They had no timeouts. They were just inside of their kicker's field goal range. they take a sack there, it's game over. And I mean, I believe the pass is completed, at the 2-yard line. If he's tackled short of the goal line, okay, the first down's going to stop the clock. You hope you can get up there and kill the clock, which would, would give you a chance to get the field goal team out there or whatever else. But risky play. I mean, Bo Nix, he completed less than 50% of his passes. I believe he completed as many yards in the fourth quarter as he did the first 3 quarters combined. So he definitely showed some growing pains, but he showed a great deal of resolve. And the young kid was able to lead his team down the field and get him the ultimate winning touchdown. There was Auburn's only lead of the game. They were down first half 14-3. That lead would swell to 21-6. And Auburn was able to come back and get a 27-21 win over the Ducks. I think the Pac-12 still has a chance at the playoff with Washington. Jacob Eason, granted against an FCS opponent in Eastern Washington, but Jacob Eason threw for nearly 350 yards. The schedule matches up very well for UW. I believe they get Utah and Seattle this year. They may have to beat them a second time in the Pac-12 championship game. They had to beat the Utes twice last year too, actually. So not all hope is lost for. I mean, in Oregon's defense, they have to go to Washington, I believe, in mid-October, if I'm not mistaken. But I think a one-loss Oregon team would have an outside. They would need some help. They need some teams to lose around them. But they got to run it from here.
And the one thing I liked about Auburn, even though they was down, they kept their poise. And head coach Gus Malzahn, how you say his name, kept confidence in his young quarterback. Even making mistakes, he kept going back and forth, just giving them confidence going forward. And the defense of Auburn kept them in this game.
They're going to have to keep them in every game.
Because at times, it seems like Oregon was slipping away, but that Auburn defense, especially that front seven, was just making it hard for Oregon's offense to score any more points. Now, Oregon's defense did show up and showed out until that last-minute drive, and they need to work on that, and this is their only chance and hope to probably get in the college football playoff, but we don't know yet. It's still early in the season. But Oregon had their chances, and unfortunately, they didn't capitalize them. And that will do it the first segment. Second segment, when we come back, we'll talk about which head coaching job is likely on the hot seat. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Gameball College Kickoff.
What's happening, everyone?
Welcome back to Gameball College Kickoff, where the football season never ends. Segment number dos. Which head coaching job is likely on the hot seat after week 1?
Let me take a little moment to pat myself on the back here. I said Mizzou's Barry Odom could be potentially on the hot seat come the start of the season. And his Mizzou Tigers, ineligible for postseason play, go to Laramie, Wyoming. Lay an absolute egg, fall behind 34-17. They ultimately lose 37-31 with the debut of Clemson transfer quarterback Kelly Bryant. If I'm going to call Barry Odom to be on the hot seat before week 1 and then to go and lose, I think that seat just got a little bit warmer.
I'm going to have to say Jeremy Pruitt out of Tennessee. When you lose like that to Georgia Southern, it's just like, wow. But the person I'm going to have to really say coaching job is on a hot seat is Willie Taggart out of Florida State.
Good one.
You were up by
21-3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was. You was up big against Boise State. Then you let them come back and stole the game from you. They basically came and took your heart out. And what does it say about Willie Taggart? Is he good enough for Florida State, or should he have stayed in Oregon? So we don't know what the situation could have been. if he would have been more aggressive instead of being conservative, and he had Boise State on their heels. That's just my opinion. And there's a bunch of coaches' jobs at the hot seat.
Honorable mention to Will Muschamp at South Carolina. If they don't get it going this year, I don't think they're ever going to. And Chip Kelly at UCLA. Well, Cincinnati, they play at Ohio State this upcoming Saturday. If Cincinnati can at least compete, show out, I think they're a 17-point underdog. Let's say they lose 30-20. Keep somewhat realistic, lose by 10, right? Okay, maybe that loss to Cincinnati doesn't look so bad, but if they lose 50-10, so what Cincinnati does going forward could really, in addition to UCLA, that could really make things difficult in Pasadena.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to have to put Willie Taggart on the hot seat. He has to get the season turned around. Because if he doesn't get the season turned around, then everybody, their mama, going to be hollering, knock at the door, we want a new coach, and all this other stuff. I ain't got nothing against Willie Taggart. He's a good head coach, but maybe he's not the guy be the right fit for Florida State. It's still early in the season, though.
It feels a lot like Charlie Strong at Texas. A good coach. Not sure if it's like I said. I think he's a size 12 wearing a size 14 shoe.
That's basically true. You could say it like that. And that will do it for our second segment. When we come back for the third segment, week 2 matchups and predictions. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Coming right up on Gameball College Kickoff.
Got some good ones.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Gameball College Kickoff, where the football season never ends. All right, I'm going to stop. So, segment number 3, week 2 matchups and predictions. Starting with the first one, the heavyweight of all heavyweights daytime matchup. Texas A&M versus Clemson, round number 2.
These two teams played a great game at College Station last year. I think it was at A&M this year. I'd probably be tempted to go with the Aggies in this one, but I tell you what, Clemson. Like they say, the guys in the desert, they know a lot more than we do. That's Vegas, by the way. The point, the guys who set the spread. Clemson is getting 18.5. I find that to be just a little ridiculous, but like I said, I think the guys out west know a little bit more than you or me do. So they're 18.5-point favorites for a reason. Texas A&M is the number 12 team in college football. They're almost a 20-point underdog to Clemson. So just let that sink in for a minute.
So disrespectful.
And this is after they lost by 2 last year, and ultimately because of I believe they went for 2 to send the game into overtime and was stopped. If memory serves me correct on that.
If you're going to do a point spread, at least do it like 5 or 7.5, maybe 3 or something like that. That would at least be a little bit more respectable. Put some respect in Texas A&M game.
I got A&M finishing second in the SEC West behind Alabama this year, so I obviously have a high opinion of them too. But 2:30 kickoff, 2:30 Central Time kickoff between the Aggies and the Tigers, and they're like I said, running back a good one from a year ago.
And I'm gonna go like this. It's going to come down to which team defense stops the offense at the end. Because last year it came down to that in a very close game. This year it's a new Clemson defense. Are they going to do the same thing like they did last year against A&M? Will A&M be able to be a little bit more aggressive, especially in a very hostile environment at Death Valley in Clemson? So we don't know. So that's my take on it. Which defense of both of these teams is going to make an impact and one last play to win this game? Colorado versus Nebraska, former Big 12 rivals.
Yeah, these two played a good one in Lincoln last year that I thought Nebraska was going to pull out. They ultimately lost, I believe, by 3. I can't remember the final score offhand. But going to be playing in Boulder in the mountains this time around. Scott Frost trying to get Nebraska going. They didn't look overly impressive against South Alabama. They let a 28-7 lead turn into a 28-21 lead before ultimately winning 35-21 over the Jaguars of USA. But Colorado, they're 1-0 as well. They 52-31 win over in-state rival Colorado State. That was a neutral site game at Denver in MvsCLEM Field at Mile High. Don't let the 3-touchdown win fool you, though. Colorado State was about mid-third quarter, Colorado really started to flex their muscle. But that first 2.5 quarters, it was like every score, took the lead for the other team. So Colorado at home, playing in altitude. Like you said, remember when these two used to play on Black Friday all the time?
Oh, yes.
Tom Osborne and Bill McCartney.
Classic. I've missed
Tommy
those
Frazier,
games.
Cordell Stewart, Rashawn Salam, Lawrence Phillips, Amon Green, Bobby Purified, and go on and on.
You can't forget Eric Bieniemy.
Eric Bieniemy, Darian Hagan, yep. And that's the we haven't even touched on the defensive players. I mean, these two used to turn it back in the '90s. It was the game in college football.
Man,
I don't think that rivalry ever really got its just due, to be honest with you.
No,
I mean, Nebraska, Oklahoma always did, and then the other rivalries have kind of withstood the test of time, if you will. I mean, some of the more obvious ones, Alabama, Auburn, etc. Michigan, Ohio State, Army, Navy, whatever else. But this was always kind of a low-key rivalry that had regular top 10 matchups, yet we rarely ever heard them ever get hype except of outside of game day.
Well, Nebraska is going on a road this year in this game. Their defense stepped up. Their defense bailed them out and week 1 win. Offensively, they got to get better. They got to correct that. And Scott Frost knows that. He even said it. Mm-hmm. So if their offense could get it going along with that defense.
In Colorado, they won the Pac-12 South 3 years ago maybe. But I mean, so they got some upperclassmen on that team that obviously would have been lowerclassmen at the time. But they got some winners.
Oh yeah, Colorado can't be underestimated either if they could do what they did in week 1. But Nebraska's got something to prove. They got a bad taste in their mouth from last year, and plus they want to win their division in the Big Ten. So next matchup is Miami, the U, versus North Carolina.
Going to be a night game at Chapel Hill, the old tar pit. Carolina, they're a 6-point underdog, which is roughly what they was against South Carolina. North Carolina's got home field. Miami does have 2 weeks to get ready for it, though. They opened what I've heard several times over called Week 0. So I guess Week 0 is an actual thing in college football now. But they lost a neutral field game in Orlando to the Gators. Chomp chomp. I tell you what, though, I thought Miami was going to get beat by 2 or 3 touchdowns, and they lost 24-20. Mm-hmm. I think Miami, they got to taste victory. I think once they taste victory, that's going to really get that train going. And once they do, I think they're going to be really a team to be reckoned with. But North Carolina, very impressive win, as we touched in the first segment, over the Gamecocks at Charlotte. Stadium home of the Panthers. Carolina Panthers at the NFL. Nice little neutral field matchup there. And like I said, a night game at Chapel Hill. I always tend to lean towards the home team in night games when it's a 3 to 8 point spread.
And my thing for North Carolina offensively, can they handle that vicious front seven of Miami? That's going to be the true test, and how Miami's young offense will bounce back.
Yeah, we don't know much about North Carolina. I don't think they're good enough to trail 3.5 quarters every game like they did week 1, though. Got to play from ahead.
Yeah, but that's the only thing that concerns me about North Carolina is their offense holding up against Miami's front seven.
But props to the Tar Heels. Once they did get that elusive lead in the fourth quarter, they were able to hang on. There was still a good 8-10 minutes to go in the game there. So South Carolina had opportunities. The North Carolina defense was able to step up there. So granted, credit where credit's due on the Tar Heels, being able to hang on.
And whoever makes big plays offensively and defensively is going to win this game. All right, last matchup. The heavyweight fights, SEC versus the Big 12, LSU Tigers versus the Texas Longhorns.
Number 6 LSU, a 4-point road favorite at number 9 Texas. We did our preview show here, about a month or so ago, or our conference picks and whatever else, and we picked our division winners, our conference winners, our Final Four for the playoff. I had Texas in the playoff, and I stand by that. I think that it goes back to what I said about North Carolina a moment ago. You give me a home team at night, a touchdown or less favorite. I really tend to go with the home teams on this one, but especially when it's Darrell K. Royal Stadium, that's one of the more that's one of college football's cathedrals, if you will. And those there's about 5 to 7 stadiums in college football. You guys know who I'm talking about. They get that night game at home, and Texas is one of them where it makes all the difference.
All right, it's time for predictions, my friend. Texas A&M or Clemson?
I think Texas A&M puts the college football world on notice and loses at the same time. I think it's going to be a very similar game to last year. I think it's just going to be rock'em sock'em robot. Like I said, a 3:30 Eastern time. A 3:30 Eastern time local time kick there. So second week of September, they got that South Carolina heat going on. I trust Clemson will be decked out in their all orange uniforms, which are one of the more iconic looks of college football. Trevor Lawrence, he still hasn't experienced a defeat before, and I don't think he's going to this time either. I think that Tiger train keeps on rolling. Going back to our conference preview, I picked Clemson to go to and win the national championship again this year. Obviously going to pick them to win over A&M here. I think it's going to be, like I said, I think it's going to be just a real slobber knocker of a game. I'm going to go Clemson 35-30. Like I said, I think A&M has the lead at points in the second half. I think they move the ball. Kellen Mond and company, he's one of the more underrated quarterbacks nobody really talks about. But he's been started at A&M, or this is at least his third year now. Seems like he's been there forever. But I'm going 35-30 Clemson.
I'm going to go with Clemson as well. It's going to be a dogfight, fight to the finish. But I'm going to say Clemson wins at home in a very close game, late field goal kick, 26-23 Clemson. Nebraska versus Colorado.
The game in Boulder, Colorado, they are a 4 to 4.5 point home underdog. Again, we go back to our conference previews. I just kept on saying about Nebraska. I'm not behind the hype. I think the 2020 Huskers are going to be like one of the teams in college football. But it's 2019. I think Colorado, much like last year, kind of scores a mild, minor upset. I'm going to go with the Buffaloes in this one, 24-21.
I'm going to go with Nebraska to get the road win. They have the bad taste in their mouth for letting the game get away from them last year. So I'm going to say Nebraska gets it done, and I like the way the defense is going. And I think Scott Frost will figure it out along with the coaching staff to get the offensive rolling. But I'm going to say 31-27, Nebraska wins at Colorado.
It's going to be one of the better games of the day for sure.
Miami versus North Carolina.
Like I said, you get that touchdown or less favorite in the home team at night. I really like to go with them, but 9 times out of 10, both teams have the 1 week of preparation for each other. Miami, they got the 2 weeks to go with, and basically what I said, how A&M is going to make a statement and lose the game at the same time. I think that's what Miami did against Florida. Yeah, they lost the game, but we can kind of see that Miami train getting started now. Mac Brown, his kids will play hard for him. They'll get him at least a half, especially at home, especially at night. But I think Miami eventually pulls away in the second half. I'm going to go 41-28 Miami.
I'm going to say Miami wins on the road because they lost a very close game. They let one slip away, and that defense is edging to get a win. So I'm going to say Miami wins on the road 31-10.
Now, if North Carolina can pressure the quarterback similar to the way Florida could in that week 0 matchup, I don't think Miami really has. They won't have a chance against anybody. They're going to protect the quarterback better. Now, that said, I think the Florida pass rush is that good, though, too.
Yeah. All right, last matchup, heavyweight, Big 12 versus SEC, LSU versus Texas.
Yeah, I think it's old Sam Ellinger's time to shine. I'm drinking the Tom Herman Kool-Aid. I know we've been hyping Texas up year after year after year to it, going back to about the last 3 or 4 years that Mac Brown was coaching there. The Charlie Strong era didn't quite work out the way they wanted to. They kept on getting preseason top 10, top 20, whatever else. They kept on getting top 5 recruiting classes. Struggling to make bowl games, whatever else. I think Texas has their guy. I think this is what college football was fearing. Texas has their guy. They got the guy at coach. They got the guy at quarterback, and it's going to be horns up by the slimmest of margins, 21-20. I think they beat LSU by 1 point.
I'm going to go Texas Longhorn, hook 'em horns to win against LSU. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a lot of defense, but I think Texas offensively will find a way to score. So I'm going to say Texas wins a close one, 27-24 against LSU. Hook 'em horns.
9 times out of 10, what happens here is when the two teams on the field are equal, it comes down to coach. And this is a point that was kind of, I can't remember who I heard this from. I wish I could give them the credit. But after Clemson just kind of romped and stomped all over Alabama in the championship game last year, one great observation that an individual made, who again is remaining anonymous, the two teams on the field were equal. It's just Clemson had better coaching. That's why I like Texas in this one.
All right, that will do it for Gameball College Kickoff. Social media, Facebook, Gmail, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. Follow all of that to the right at the screen as you can see. And I'm going to pass it on to my brother, Luke.
Find me on Facebook at Luke Hartnett. Find me on Twitter at Luke Hartnett2. Give us some feedback. Tell us what you like. Tell us what we dislike. Give us some constructive criticism. A couple of weeks ago, Mike was saying, we're trying to please the haters, and I went and checked out some of the comments myself, and it's like, okay, don't just say, hey guys, try something else. Okay, instead be like, hey guys, why don't you try ... Give us some ideas. Give us some feedback. We'd be happy to tailor the show, mix it up every once in a while. For those of you that are following the podcast very regularly, shout out to you. And we do mix things up during the season. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we went to Peru, Nebraska for a Peru State game versus the victorious Missouri Valley College, Vikings. And so that's one we were trying to switch things up a little bit here. So like I said, constructive criticism, we're all for it.
All right, we can't forget our other brother who couldn't be with us today. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all in one. Jovel_entertainment. I'm Michael Riley.
I'm Luke Hartnett. And another shout out to Marcus Jovel Jenkins there. His kid Josiah, he's playing, he's 11, 12 years old, playing that football. He's a real good running back here for a local team here in Lawrence. That's why you don't really see a whole lot of Marcus during the football season. He's being a football dad. Props to him. Props to being a real dad out there. Need more folks like you. Josiah, we need more folks like you too. Keep running that rock. Keep winning for Lawrence. Keep it going.
I'm Michael Riley.
And I'm Luke Hartnett.
This is Gameball College Kickoff, where the football season never ends. Peace. We are out, and see you next time.